I'm calling this meeting to order. Welcome to Sedro Woolley Rotary, the best Rotary club in the universe. Today's invocation will be with David Bricka.
Thank you, President-elect Ruth. Let's bow our heads. As we gather here today as members of Rotary, let us be ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens in our community and the world. Be with our fellow Rotarians at the International Conference in Singapore. Guide them as they renew old friendships and create new ones. Thank you for the hard work and dedication of our leadership team. Be with Ruth, Christine, and the new officers as they step into their roles for the next year. Amen.
All right, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now let's join me in the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And today's song is also with Mr. Bricka.
It's a beautiful day outside, so let's sing America the Beautiful. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Okay, you may be seated. All right, besides our program today, do we have any guests of Rotarians?
I see guests.
I do have a gift. A very special friend of mine, also my wife, Henrietta.
He is speaking with me in a little bit, but I thought I'd introduce our Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, Brian Isakson.
All right, welcome visitors. Okay, we have quite a bit of club business I want to go over. Thanks to everyone who showed up to the work parties for the Memorial Park shelters, especially Dan Hockett for his organizing those. And thanks a lot to Lynn Tucker for being the sole person to show up besides Dan on Saturday while the rest of us were either sleeping in or pretending like we didn't know it existed. Very much appreciated. The city will be handling much of the work moving forward, but Dan will let us know if they need any additional assistance. And just please mark on your calendar that the work party that was scheduled for this Wednesday is canceled because we got so much of the work done already. I would like to have the club vote on proposed projects for the 24-25 Rotary year in July. I'm looking for smaller projects that allow our members to volunteer. And during my term as president, I'm looking to re-engage members through service. So please be thinking about projects we can do as a club that are actually doable, easily fundable, and that we can possibly schedule throughout the year. I'm not looking to tackle large projects that need a project manager or multi-years of funding. And I'm also not looking to do covered play areas, as the board has already reached the conclusion that this funding needs to either be raised through the parent groups at the individual schools or paid for by the community passing a bond. Reminder, next Thursday's meeting is a breakfast meeting at the community center here at 7 a.m. We have a program scheduled about veterans. I'm not sure what the specific topic is. Chris Diaz will be the speaker. And it's at 7 a.m. So drink some coffee on your way here. I expect to see all you Rusty Zipper Club members there, because if you can wake up for Tuesday morning, you can wake up for Thursday morning. Let's see. And then we have a full program list already for the month of June. We have the 24-25 board retreat that I think I finally added Sheena to the invite list. You're welcome. Sorry about that, Sheena. I think the Boys and Girls Club is still looking for some barbecuers for their end of summer teen barbecue. And that's on Friday, June 14th. So if you are a barbecuer, a flipper of all things on the grill, please see Christina Trader. She would love you forever. She really needs some help. Speaking of help, we also have an event on June 10th at the Senior Center. Some of you may have seen an email go out about that. Please, if you have any interest in connecting with our AP English students, they are desperate for adult volunteers. And if you're interested, please let me know and I'll have Lindsay Kitchens, one of the teachers, reach out to you directly. And June 20th, we'll be having the foot race assignment discussion with Brock and Kyle and Rebecca. You're the program that day. I'm assuming everything's going to be ready to go and you're going to stand up here and give everyone their assignments. So just another reminder in person, just in case you don't read a long email. And June 28th is the installation dinner. My friend and my very favorite president-elect ever, Lynn Tucker, has the list to sign up. Right? He's passing it around. If you plan on attending, please sign up on the list, even if you've already let Becky know, just so we have it all in one place. Any other club business or announcements? All right, let's have a raffle with David and Mark.
Okay, we're going to do 3 today, and you've got this fine selection of high quality wine, and you can also spin the wheel. And just one correction, Rusty zippers don't start till 8 o'clock, not 7 o'clock.
They're obviously retired. 8 o'clock, they're sleeping in.
We don't have a president.
First number, 44. 44. Who has 44? That's Brett. Greenwood. Yep. Winner, chicken dinner. You. $15 cash. You're going to take that to Anna course with you? What are you going to do?
I'll leave it in the pot.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Next number is 65. 065. 65. Nick. All right. Okay. You do. Okay, it's coming around. $25 cash. Another donation to the club. Thank you, Nick. Yeah. And another winner, number 69. And that'd be David. That'd be David. That's Cascade Pizza. Let's do one more, Dave, since everybody's giving their money back and being very generous today. Let's do one more ball. Number 1 in your hearts. Number one, Lynn Tucker. Spin, come on. Come on. Okay. Well, you did better this time. $10. And he's throwing it back in too. Thank you, Lynn. Good job. So the club made like $35 on that raffle there. Good job. On top of what we already made. So we ready to go?
Yeah, let's do Sergeant Arms.
Okay, Sergeant of Arms. A number of years ago, those of you that were here, we had a group of visiting Rotarians from Australia. And they had a quick way to raise money for the club, and it's called Heads and Tails. So I have 2 quarters with me today, and I'm asking you if you want to participate to put in $2 in the pot, and you stand up and you're going to do heads with both hands on your head, tails, both hands on your bottom, or both, one on your head and one on your tail. So $2 in the middle. The winner will get $20. How do you do both? You put one on your head, one hand on your head, one on your bottom. I have 2 at a time. Okay. He'll pay for it, Hank. You can do it. He'll pay for it. I'll pay for you. Okay. Make your choice. Heads, tails, or one of each. Okay. Going up. Okay. We've got a head and a tail. So if you didn't get a head and a tail like John Smith, sit down. You got it. Smitter, you had it. Okay. Next round. Heads, tails, or both. Make your choice. What are you, Brian? Okay. Okay, here we go. Head and head. 2 heads. 2 heads. Oh, Rick's still in it. Brock's still in it. Danny's still in it. Okay, how many we have left here? 3 or 4. Smitter, are you still in it? You're close. You're close. Now we know where your brains are. That's what. Okay. Heads, tails, or both. So we've got Danny, what are you? You're both? Okay. Brock and Danny are both? Okay, here we go. Yeah, no kidding. Head and head. 2 heads. All losers, stand up again. Stand up again. Well, we'll put it back in a fund. That's a good idea. So we've made good money today. And Smitter, you want to collect for me? So we've got happy bucks. Happy bucks. Okay, Mike.
I can't believe it. We're at the end of the month and it's my birthday month. And this is the first meeting I went to. I went to Yosemite. I've been all over the place, but I'm glad to be a Rotarian in Sedro Woolley.
Great. Thank you. Sheena?
I'm happy that Mike finally paid his dues for the year and next year. He's ahead of everybody.
Lisa must have been loose with the purse strings. Any other happy bucks? Miriam? Okay.
Tomorrow, the Washington Association of School Administrators are gathering for our annual year-end banquet. And we do recognize every school district, we get to recognize a community member who has been, very supportive of our schools. Last year's awardee was Chief Tucker. This year, it's going to be David Bricka. So just really excited about that. And it's a very well-deserved recognition for David.
Chris, and then you, Smitter.
I got a happy 5 for Ruth. Congratulations on the school.
I got a happy 10 here. Last Saturday, the director of the museum offered a speech class for the park out here. that was built. And Rotary furnished the signs for it. So they had a little introduction, and Dan Sims, Steve Massey, and I gave a little talk about how that happened. And so they're trying to get it going, and that was the Armed Forces Day. It's just another holiday like now, but anyway, yeah, it was a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Actually, it's not just another day. It's not just, it's a day of appreciation for you guys. Thank you.
I've a happy $10. I'm very honored and humbled by this great honor that I'll be receiving tomorrow. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the things the school district does. Keep up the good work.
Okay, Becky.
Happy 20 for Memorial Day. If you don't know, this is where we remember our fallen soldiers who I also served with, some that have gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Okay, I think we're ready to go.
All right, so today's program, we have with us some very special people, especially the one that signs my paycheck, Dr. Miriam Mickelson. She's amazing. We are doing the State of the Union. So we have Dr. Mickelson. We have the amazing Assistant Superintendent, Brian Isakson, the soon to be departed, but still with us, Executive Director of Business Operations and Technology, Brett Greenwood. So, and then I'll be wrapping up. I'll be on the tail. So please come on up.
Thank you, Ruth, and thank you for the opportunity to brag a little bit about our district, share the state of the district with you all. But before I do, I would just like to recognize our two school board members who are here, School Board Vice President Danny Russell and School Board President Eric Johnson. The district is doing well because of the leadership that they provide. And it's not very easy to lead these days. I'm just very grateful for them and the rest of the school board. I would like to start with some celebrations because we're just very proud of our district. And we only have about half an hour for our presentation. And so I cannot enumerate all of the celebrations, all of the wonderful things happening in our district. I'll just name a few. For example, where do I point this? Okay, there we go. Celebrations. For one celebration, after 20 years, we were finally able to adopt instructional materials and resources for our kindergarten students until 5th grade for English language arts. And Brian Isakson is going to tell you about that a little bit more in a little bit. But it's a massive win for our students. And I'm just excited to see the impact of these new instructional resources that these resources are going to have on student learning. Another celebration is the art and music instruction happening in our elementary. And the reason why this is a celebration, before I started, this program was cut at the elementary level because of budget constraints, and we were able to bring it back. We were able to be creative with our budget, bring art and music back at the elementary last year, and we're able to continue it this year, next year as well, and hopefully in years to come. And our CTE program continues to be a very robust program for our students, offering a variety of options for our students. So from academics to athletics to extracurricular programs, there's just a number of things happening that are just so amazing in our district. But what I would really like to highlight today at celebrations are 3 success stories of 3 former students, because we don't get to hear about these success stories quite often. If you go to the Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction's website, you're not going to see success stories of our students necessarily. You're going to see test scores and things like that, but not these stories. So I'd like to start with Emily. So she started her K-12 career with us as a kindergartner at Clear Lake, and she graduated in 2022 from Sedro Woolley High School. Shortly after that, Emily attended the Institute of Culinary Education in New York City, and it is one of the top culinary schools in the country. If you're familiar with Top Chef, the head judge there, Tom Colicchio, had this to say about the students who graduate from the Institute of Culinary Education. I've been working with ICE students in New York for years, and they are consistently among the best young chefs in my restaurants. And Emily graduated from ICE, and she now works at a top French restaurant in New York City overlooking Manhattan. It's a French restaurant called Jean-Georges. And she is one of their youngest employees there. And she just got promoted recently to be the head of the pastry department. She's a pastry chef in New York at that restaurant. And I cannot emphasize enough just how amazing that is. To make it in the restaurant industry in New York City is not an easy feat. So just really proud of Emily. Also, very proud of another former student. She was a student representative to the school board, actually. She, Ariana, I don't know if you can see her. Right there in the middle. She now works at Dakota Creek. She is one of 8 women as a 19-year-old working there. So just really proud of her. She credits our CTE program as one of the reasons why she is just thriving at Dakota Creek. And finally, like I said, this is just some pictures showing Ariana's talents, showing off her talents. Also very proud of Natalie. She graduated last year, and she just got accepted to Barnard College of Columbia University. It is a top women's liberal arts college in the country, one of 4 undergraduate colleges connected with Columbia University. I'm very, very proud of her because the admission rate is a measly 7%. For her class of 2028, 11,800 students applied and only 7% were accepted. So she credits the rigorous classes that she took at Sedro Woolley High School as one of the reasons why she was able to meet her goal of attending Barnard College of Columbia University. So those are just 3 success stories that represent the kind of education that we strive to provide to all of our students at Sedro Woolley, in the Sedro Woolley School District. We're not just about academics, we try to educate the whole child. So I also would like to highlight, this is actually a celebration as well. Before I move forward with how do we educate the whole child, I just would like to acknowledge the fact that it really does take a village to educate a child. And I'm very grateful for community members such as you who have been very supportive of our schools. We have Dr. and Mrs. Gates, who for years have consistently been very supportive of our schools. Every year they provide us with instructional materials, whatever the teachers need through the Gates grant. And they have been doing this very charitable work in support of our schools since the early 90s, when they read an article about school teachers paying for materials and resources out of their own pocket. So since the 90s, they have been very generously providing us with the resources that we need. Last year and this year, we were able to procure portable toilets and excuse me, privacy tents in all of our classrooms. Thank you, Ruth. So if there is an emergency, thank you, just need some water. So if there is an emergency and our students have to stay within the classroom for an extended period of time, we don't have to worry about sending them into, hallways or halls where they need to use the bathroom. So we're very, very grateful for them. Okay, educating the whole child. We do more than just teach our students maths and science and English language arts and social studies. We try to educate the whole child. And so every year in our district, we do a vision and hearing screening test for our students for free. This is one of our students at Lyman Elementary getting her hearing tested. And we have community partners who work with us on this, such as the Lions, which just like the Rotary is an integral part of our community. We also we did heart screening. You may have heard of it on May 1st. It was a free heart screening for our students that we partnered with the Nick of Time Foundation. We also did a dental cleaning for our students in our in-town schools. And I'm just very proud of that event as well. We had one student, 7-year-old, who never had her teeth cleaned until that time. So those are just a few initiatives that we do in our district to educate the whole child. I will talk a little bit about challenges because there's an abundance of challenges as well. We're dealing with young people who come to us with lives and backgrounds that sometimes get in the way of their learning. So just a number of challenges for us. We have, unfortunately, declining enrollment. It's a steady decline since the pandemic. And I think that there is perhaps a narrative out there that we are losing students to homeschooling or to private schools because of some of the failures of the public school system. That's not entirely true. We are losing a few students to homeschooling and private schools and things like that. But most of the students who are leaving our system are leaving, this year at least, according to our data tracking, they're leaving Skagit County and attending other schools outside of Skagit County within the state. So that's just something that we are trying to grapple with because every student comes to us with funding from the state. And so declining enrollment obviously impacts our staffing and our ability to meet the needs of our students because of less revenue from the state. We are also dealing with chronic absenteeism, just like any other school district in the state and in the country. We have some students who are just missing too much school, and that's a challenge for us because if they're not attending, then they can't be learning. Student discipline, also a challenge for us, just like any other school district in the state and in the country. We have students with severe social emotional needs. There's a spike in the number of students with anxiety. And so that's just another thing that we have to work with. And then the political divisiveness, unfortunately, is making its way into schools. These are just a few challenges, but overall, we're trying to do our very best to promote student learning. And so I will turn things over to Mr. Isakson, Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning.
Thank you. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about our latest adoption of curriculum. It's called the Wonders Program. And the name Wonders is basically referring to the fact that it does a lot of asking big questions, essential questions that drive the thinking of students. Obviously, literacy is a very important skill for all of our students. It's a game changer. If they can read and write effectively, they're going to have a lot of doors open to them in their lives. And so this program that we just started with this year is a big deal for us. It's basically an equity issue, and what we want is we want all of our students in every one of our elementary schools to have that same high level of quality instruction, no matter if they're at Lyman, whether they're at Evergreen or they're at Clear Lake. They all should be getting that same quality instruction. Wonders is a very robust program. And so one of the main things that is my focus this year, as well as with Mike Schweigert back there, who also works with me on this, is training for our teachers. It's not the kind of thing that you can just pick up and just automatically know how to use all the pieces of this. There's so much more to this program than that they can explore in a short period of time. So training is really what it's all about. We do a lot of things with our teachers so that they're able to explore the different pieces of this, whether it's in kindergarten through first grade, where the focus is on, sorry about that, kindergarten and first grade, where the focus is on phonological awareness and phonics, where they're really learning to become those readers of letters and the sounds that they make and the combination of those. But the thing that I love about this program is the reading that kids are doing is interesting reading. As they're learning to become better readers, they're learning to comprehend and they're learning to think critically. A lot of the reading that they do is on topics that students find interesting. Might be a science-related topic, might be a history-related topic. And so it's not just reading, it's taking on big questions, essential content that will make them interested in what they're doing. So the training process for this program, I like to think of it in terms of a 3-year process. I think in 3 years, we'll have our teachers to the point where they're becoming experts with this program. And so we are very fortunate that we have a person that lives near our community and is working in our community now that was part of the design process with McGraw-Hill. And so his name is John, and John is a wonderful person, and connects really well with our teachers. And we're getting a lot of positive results with that training. The training focuses on working with them in grade level teams. So we'll bring all of kindergarten teachers together, and then all of first grade teachers, and so on and so forth. And so they're able to learn and explore this together and plan lessons together, practice those lessons, and come back and discuss together how they did with teaching those lessons. You can see that the goals of this program are developing critical readers, writers, and communicators and thinkers. It also comes with a full complement of small group tools. It's called differentiation. As students, every student is not the same. It takes different timing. Students have different challenges. And so the small group piece of this allows them, after the core lesson that every student gets, the teachers break them into small groups so that they're able to kind of hone in on the specific needs of those students and personalize the instruction for what the needs are at that point. It also has full resources for students who are English language learners, and it gives them the ability to read text that's at their level. So it provides a lot of different flexibility for students. So we're really excited about this program. It's a huge commitment of resources, and we're going to make sure that our teachers are experts at this program so that literacy instruction in our district just blossoms. So thank you.
Thank you, Brian. We have outstanding, remarkable teachers in our district, and we are doing important, impactful work, such as focusing on literacy. But if you go to the state's website, OSBI, Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction, and you look at test scores, you may not see some of that amazing work that we are trying to do reflected necessarily in test scores. This is a snapshot of the Smarter Balance Assessment test results. Last year, it's a comparison of our district against school districts in our area: Anacortes, Ferndale, Burlington, Concrete, LaConner, Mount Vernon, and against the state. So you will see that we definitely have work to do. But what I would like to share, though, with you this afternoon is that state testing, it does not paint the whole picture. It is one measure that we take into consideration along with other measures. State testing, we cannot hang the quality, we cannot hang our impact on state testing alone, because while it is very important, and I am not diminishing that, state tests, they do have limitations. For example, they do not test life skills or some of the skills that we are teaching our students in our schools. They're just not captured in the state test. For example, welding. Welding, you will not see this skill tested in the SBA. This is a picture of one of our CT teachers, welding teacher, Danny Goss. And I don't know if any of you recognize this bell, but apparently there was a Barkley bell in our district dedicated to Condon Barkley, from what I understand. He was an attorney in Sedro Woolley and a very staunch advocate and supporter of schools. And so this bell used to be a victory bell for high school games at Sedro Woolley High School. And several years ago, it was decommissioned because it was no longer functional and operational. It lost its clapper, and there were just other things missing. And so it just disappeared. It got lost. And there were efforts to find the bell and to try to refurbish it, but efforts proved futile. So Danny Goss, last winter, found the bell, and he had his students weld a stand for the bell, and they constructed a clapper for the bell. And here's the amazing part too. They presented this bell to one of the daughters of Attorney Barkley on her 80th birthday. So our students did a phenomenal job reconstructing the bell, and there's just an amazing story behind it as well. So this is one of those learning experiences that just cannot be captured by state testing. So I just thought I'd share that with you. And on that note, Executive Director Greenwood, who will soon be leaving us to go to Anacortes, but has been with us for 12 years. And one of the reasons why our district over the years, despite the challenges, we have been in good shape financially.
Thank you. Okay, so as Dr. Mickelson noted when she first started, we're experiencing an enrollment decline. And that essentially just means less funding for us. And that is a bad place for us to be in as a school district, because we're primarily staff. That's what operates a school district. So any cut that we make is extremely painful. So we try everything we can to avoid cutting staff, to avoid putting ourselves in this situation. Right now, I would say that we are stable but tight. And that's a good spot for your school district to be, stable but tight, instead of unstable and tight. So here's a look at our enrollment trend. You see the dip there in 2021. That obviously was COVID, and we came out of COVID and we thought we were going to get back to normal. And then over the last couple of years, we're starting to dip back down. And as Dr. Mickelson noted, we're tracking these students, and they're not leaving us for homeschool or private schools in the area. They're just leaving Skagit County. So we are projected next year actually to just be at the 4,000 range, which we haven't been at that level for quite some time, but we are in a bit of a downward trend. And we know it's a little bit of wordplay, but we're not cutting budget, we're right sizing because we had enough staff for the number of students we had in 2023, but knowing we're gonna have less students, we have to right size our staffing. So here's a look at our revenue. Overall, we're just over 84 million in revenue. And as you all know, we have a levy. So thank you for that. Without that, we wouldn't be able to exist as a school district. about 12 million in the levy. State funding is 64 million, so that's obviously the lion's share where the funding comes from now. And federal funding is 5.3. And I'd just like to make a note that federal funding comes with a lot of strings. It's not like we can use it on what we want. It is very restricted for certain programs, and it's actually quite frustrating sometimes for us. But overall, 84 million in revenues. And then here's a look at our expenditures. We broke it down by category that I thought you might find interesting. Is that, again, we're 84 million. And of that 84 million, 76 million of that is for staff and salaries, because that is what we are. We are a people business. We spend just over 5 million on supplies and materials, 3.8 million on contract services. And contract services are when we need some help in our special education department. We have a student that needs something that we cannot provide with us. That's where that expense would go, would be in contract services. Travel and conferences are down to basically nothing, $20,000. That's just sending some folks around to where they may need to go to keep their certificates updated. And capital outlay, 16,000. So who remembers how much the revenue was? 84 million. Do you see the number here on expenditures is 85? So obviously expenditures are going to exceed revenues, and you can't do that very often. Our school board had the foresight of building up our fund balance to make sure that we can stair-step our way into these situations and stair-step our way out. So for that, they do deserve credit, because they have alleviated a lot of stress and panic on our end by having us have a larger fund balance. So total beginning fund balance is 4.9 million. And because revenues are less than expenditures, we're going to end under 4 million. And I think that's probably pretty accurate for how we're trending right now, where we will be. And but that does give us a little bit of wiggle room to where we don't have to react in an aggressive manner right now. We can think things through. We have time, and our budget for next year is built as though it's very conservative. And if more kids show up, then we are in a good spot. And if we get right on line with projection, then we know exactly what's going to happen, and it'll be no surprises. And this is just a breakdown of our total ending fund balance. There is a minimum, as I was speaking, that the school board has directed us to have a minimum fund balance, and that minimum fund balance is 3.4 million. And that is the money that allows us not to panic when a few kids decide to move out of the area. I'd like to switch gears and talk about the capital projects levy, because I think this is something that we get a lot of questions about. I have a lot of folks that like to see what we're doing with the capital levy project. As you might recall, in 2020, you graciously approved a capital levy for our school district so we could repair our buildings. Our average age of our buildings is probably 40 to 50-year-old in the district. They're getting really expensive to repair. They need a lot of love: windows, doors, air conditioners, heaters, those types of things, just like you would at your house. And unfortunately, the state doesn't fund us for that. We have to depend on you to maintain these buildings. So you agreed, thankfully, for 2.5 million per year for us to start taking care of the buildings. And we produced a list and said, these are the things that we would like to do. But as homeowners, I'm sure you all know that that list was great in 2020, but sometimes things break in between and shift our priorities. So we've had a few of those things happen. If, for example, we weren't planning on the roof at the C building to develop a leak and start rotting out the wood and peeling the paint down the wall. So we obviously had to fix that, but it wasn't quite on the list. But we're doing the best that we can in addressing the priorities as they come. So here are some of the things that we've done since that money has arrived for it. The Sedro Woolley boiler was a 1960 boiler. It was losing water every day. It wasn't working, so we had to replace it. So we've got that project done, and that was a very big project. That cost $5 million to replace a boiler. Just so you all know, that's not an easy feat. That's not a small project. The Evergreen Modular, we added 4 classrooms because in 2020, we were expecting growth, and that growth will come. We're just in a little bit of a downturn right now. So we have 4 extra classrooms at Evergreen. The C building roof, like I just mentioned, developed a leak, started rotting the wood, and you can't leave those things alone. Those have to get fixed or they get worse. We replaced the roof at Central. We replaced the siding at Lyman. The State Street High School got a new heater. Big Lake got a new roof on their B building. The evergreen gym floor was replaced. And this summer, we're looking at replacing the heaters at Evergreen Elementary. However, the quote for that came back with some sticker shock. So I'm not really sure right now what we're going to do, but we're trying to figure out, because Evergreen is a building that we all know is not functional and needs to be replaced, but we need to keep it going while the kids are there. So we're trying to figure out our options with Evergreen. So here's a look at some things that are going on there. The top left is the 4 classrooms that legitimately a crane showed up and just put them in place, already built, just put 4 classrooms in place. And then on the right, you see the C building, new roof, and part of the Evergreen modular, we added a bus loop to try and reduce that traffic off of McGargyle for parent and bus pickup. It's getting really, really out of control. So we're directing some folks to the back of the building now. Here's the new roof at Central and the Lyman siding, Evergreen gym floor. And we're not done. Obviously, we have many buildings in the district and a lot of needs, and 2.5 million isn't going to do it. So right now we have a long range facility planning committee that is kicking off. Some of you may have applied to be on that. And if you did, I'll be in contact with you soon to get that going, because we definitely want that to be community focused and community based and community driven. We're determining the bond needs. I know that is not something that this community really favors as bonds, but we're coming to the point where we're gonna have to do something with our buildings if we want them to stay in place. And that's going to take a bond to do that work. And we're gonna continue to determine our capital levy needs. Probably no surprise to all of you, in 2020, we priced out all those projects that we thought we were gonna get done, and then inflation hit, and we're not even close with some of our projects. You know, for example, we thought the roof on Central would cost $300,000. Well, it cost $600,000 when we did it. And it's not bad estimating on our part. We just couldn't foresee inflation coming at the level that it came that quickly. So some of those projects will not get done. So we will have to come to you with our hat in hand and say, we didn't get these done. They cost more than we thought they were going to. But we need to continue the work, and we need to continue maintaining our buildings. And at the end here, I'll turn it over to Ruth.
Community engagement is a major part of what we do as a school district. And in Sedro Woolley, I do believe that we have one of the best PIOs in the entire state. Her professional pedigree is just really impressive. And we're just very, very grateful that we have Ruth Richardson heading the community engagement efforts of the district. And so here she is.
So first of all, I wanted to do a little breakdown, because to me, community engagement isn't just posting things on Facebook. It isn't just sending out newsletters. It's actually our employees engaging in our community. And I think it's really important to note that we have 10 current employees who are Rotarians. We have 4 retired employees who are Rotarians, and we have 5 spouses of our current members who are employees. And then we have 5 board members, school board members, who are Rotarians or former board members. That's just a small segment. We also have employees who are members of the Lions, the Eagles, American Legion, their state associations, and more. Our employees give back big in this community. Another way we stay involved is we have a lot of activities, and the activities aren't just for our students. Our activities are for our entire community. We do the annual Veterans Day Parade at Mary Purcell and Central. We started a tradition a few years back. I was on the chamber board, and Joanne Lazaron, many of you know her, she and her team of volunteers would spend upwards of 8 hours on that Saturday after Thanksgiving, hanging up the lights and the branches on Metcalf Street, getting the downtown area ready for the Christmas parade. And attending one of those meetings, I kind of had a light bulb moment and I said, you know, we have a lot of students and we have some amazing young coaches who grew up here, Brady Mast being one of them. And so I approached them and said, hey, is there any way that you could get your students to help out the Chamber of Commerce and help hang the branches and the lights? And Brady jumped on it. Lauren Vanderpool jumped on it from the cheerleading, our varsity and volunteerism, Travis Johns. And the first year they showed up, we didn't have enough ladders. We never have enough ladders, by the way. Thank you, Mike, for always being willing to bring a ladder down at the last minute. We had cheerleaders that were up on one another's shoulders, hanging branches and lights, just trying to get it done. It went from 6 to 8 hours to they get it done in under 2 hours with all the students who show up. We had over 80 students show up this year. And to me, that's community engagement. We're teaching these kids how to give back to their community. From the time they're young, we want them to someday grow up and know what community service is, because someday those kids will come and join Rotary if they know what it truly means to give back. We also have a lot of activities that allow our parents to attend and be part of their students' curriculum, such as drama. We have the ever enjoyable turkey trot at Cascade Middle School. I took, I didn't put the photo I took. I had the brainiac moment of, I'm going to get a photo of the students running toward me. The students in the very front of the pack saw me. The ones in the back didn't. I hurt for a few days after that hit. It felt like I took a tackle on the football field. We have our trap shooting team that through the CTE program and FFA, they do very well every year. And then we have, of course, our band, our orchestra, our choir that we value so much. Hank's group gave a donation, the Seroptimus Club did, and helped our middle school out. Was it $400, $600? $500 that they gave. And it's such a tremendous gift that our service clubs give back to our schools as well. We have you can see my little Shelby sitting there with the little Cub Shred sign. They do the pep on the step every Friday morning when there's a home football game. And you'll see the marching band with the drum line out in front of the high school. And those kids, they play for a solid 25 minutes before the school gets there. And you'll see the kids trying to avoid the drum line and go around the back way, and Carrie standing out there giving high fives to every single kid. She doesn't let them go by. But you know, the biggest thing about these activities, if you look in the background, you see the people in the stands. And that's what I notice is the football, the grandstands, they're full on Friday nights. The basketball team, they have a crowd of students and parents that are always there supporting them. Mount Vernon, when we play them in basketball, it's always entertaining to see because there's such a rivalry there. That's engagement, right? That's how we are giving back. We give kids things to do. We give them options in our community to go and make good choices because they have things to do. One thing that Dr. Mickelson did this year was she hosted a coffee and conversation each month. And we just actually had our last one this morning. And it was great because we were able to have various community members attend and talk about things that they would want to change in their schools and in their specific buildings, just overall. And that allowed us as a team at the district office to take those suggestions and make a difference right away and to make those changes to the best of our abilities and really respond right away. And one of my favorite things to do, I started this 3 years ago, and it's reading and resources. We have about 1,000 students and families, family members who show up. And the first year we had it at the high school, and people were waiting outside the gate for an hour. Last year, they were waiting outside on the sidewalk at the Boys and Girls Club at Cascade Middle School for about an hour. They're wrapped around going back on McGargyle toward Evergreen. The partnerships we've made in this event alone it's just heartwarming because we have so many kids in our schools. They cannot afford a new backpack. They cannot afford school supplies. They show up on the first day of school. They don't even have a box of pencils. And here we have Inspired Church is just an incredible partner with our district. They have brought 400 backpacks stuffed with school supplies. And this year they're bringing 500. The Rotary Club has donated $2,000 each year to buy books. We're going to do it a little differently this year because it just hasn't worked very well the way we've been doing it. And so we want to change it up so every kid walks away with a book. We have Central Skagit Library who comes. We have the police department. We have the fire department, the Volunteers of America, Skagit Transit. Did you know that every child can get a free bus pass, 8 and older in our county through the Skagit Transit? And they talk about that opportunity at the event. We have our transportation department. They are there. They're helping families sign up for their bus routes. They're helping them figure that out if they're new to the district. Danny showed up and talked about the Alumni and Schools Foundation. It was so great to see. And this year, that'll be August 22nd from 5:30 to 6:30, same place, Cascade Middle School. And if anyone has any interest in being there, please let me know because it's a great place to be. It really helps these families out. And then a lot of you get the weekly newsletter that I sent out on Friday nights. If you're curious about what's going on and if you no longer have kids in the school district, just let me know and we can add you to that list very easily. And you can see the list. Mark Nielsen was telling me that he actually reads it every week with his cup of coffee, and he feels very, very lucky to get it because it really does give him an insight into what's happening every week. And I think that was it. And we have 3 minutes for questions if you have any. Okay.
You have federal funding that gives lots of strings attached. The federal funding has lots of strings attached. What would happen if you didn't accept it? What would the freedom that you would then have to do?
Federal funding is actually just one portion of our revenue sources, and it's actually smaller than the state, but.
So if we didn't accept it, then we wouldn't have the programs that they fund, like Title I or our multi-language learning program.
No, I understand, but does it relate at all to the federal requirements of learning? Like, would you not be required to follow the federal requirements?
No.
No, okay. So the
No.
funding is not related to other requirements. So you
No.
couldn't just like go free willy, do whatever you want to do if you didn't take their money.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. And also, while I was here before, the next question is, Mark Vin reminded me to bring up state forest, because that may be something that's on everyone's mind. So a few years back, we averaged about $3 million in revenue from state forest, and state forest comes to us from the property and within the school district boundaries that the state owns, and that the Natural Department of Resources will log it or allow logging. And because we cannot collect tax off of that property, we get to share in the revenue of the logs that come off of there. Well, maybe Mike will know better. 5-6 years ago, they decided to really just stop that. So we went from 3 million to 500,000 to $300,000 in revenue. And that caught us off guard. It almost actually, Mike was there. It almost actually happened overnight. We were in a meeting with DNR, and they were talking about shutting it down. And a lawyer got up and said to all the school districts, I want to make sure you all understand what just happened right now. And it was done in one day. So we want to talk about that was a lost revenue, but we're hoping that cooler heads will prevail and that will come back to us. But that did hurt your school district. And I did see a question here.
With the enrollment coming down and the apartments going up all over the place. I assume you expect those apartments to mean more enrollment?
We used to really, yes, the rule of thumb was we thought that we would get a certain number of kids from 50 units of apartments. But the new one that was built across from Janicki now only provides 4 students. The thing is full and we're only getting 4 kids out of it. So our math and our projections are really needing to be reworked.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is more of a comment. I just want to say, you know, out of all of you guys up there, Brian, I don't know how many years he's been working for the Isakson, how many years he's been working for the school district, but it takes people like Brian who want to stay in a school district like this that really make a difference. So I just want to thank you, Brian, for being here. He's at least 35 years. 30, well, see,
30
I can't
years.
count.
Yeah.
But anyhow, 30 years is still a long time.
Yeah.
I just want to say a quick thank you to everybody that's in the school district and everything that you've done for myself, especially for my child, and just everything that you do every single day. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I just want to add, last Thursday, I spent the morning with Principal Carlton, speaking with the 13 students that got a Rotary scholarship. And these kids are poised, they're sharp, they're confident, they're gonna do great things in the world. And it's all because of you people here. So thank you.
Thank you. And we cannot let you step away. We're almost out of pens. We're so close. So allow me to give you 3 of them. Okay, do we have any other announcements or comments before we adjourn? All right, remember to stack the chairs and help with cleanup if you have a few minutes.